Fellow students, welcome to this lecture. This is Prof. Tabit speaking. In recent years, I've come across numerous undergraduate, masters, and PhD students who struggled to write scientifically. They struggled to write a piece of document in which each paragraph is built from a central theme, and in which each paragraph contains a distinct topic sentence. Furthermore, they struggled to arrange their central themes so that information can flow logically through the document. Against this background, I've decided to present the lecture Guidelines on Scientific Writing. Okay, so before we begin, we need to ask ourselves simple questions. The first one is, what is academic writing? What is scientific writing? Okay, academic writing is a writing for academic purpose, as simple as that. Academia has to do with the academia, has to do with education, school, scholarly material. And writing for scientific purpose, I mean, is writing a scientific piece. So you have to be in the science discipline and you are writing a scientific document. So that's writing for scientific purpose. Okay, naturally, the two are linked because we need to apply our academic writing techniques in order to write scientifically. So therefore, we are going to see how to write, how to apply the academic writing techniques in order to write a piece of document. Okay, so we look at the characteristics of academic writing. It has to be formal. I mean, a formal piece of writing means that you're writing it not to a friend, okay, or to a family members. Because if you write to family members, then you can be casual. But if you're writing to your boss, if you're writing something that has to do with the university, if you're writing something that has to scientific publication or scientific reports, then you have to do a formal writing. Okay, so formal writing has a particular structure, which we are going to see. So in formal writing, your sentences have to be simple, short, with simple vocabulary, and it must be easy to comprehend. Okay, somebody should be able to understand what you're saying without trying to make their own interpretation. Types and level of academic writing. So in order for us to understand the concept of academic writing, we need to look at the different layers of, in terms of complexity of academic writing. So we are going to start with the least complex, which is descriptive. Okay, in descriptive writing, you are expected to just outline facts on a particular concept or context, you know. So typical questions will be in the form of identify, outline, and summarize. Okay, so you're just presenting facts. Okay, the next one is analytical. Okay, so you're going to be conducting an analysis of something. So you can see that if you are conducting an analysis, it means that you are going to present different context, okay, of a particular topic. So you have different context of things that you are looking at them. So this will be a distinct context. So therefore, we say that you are going to outline facts, which you should do for each context, and then group the facts according to the context, and then you compare them, and then you conclude. So it is mostly evaluative. So we are comparing two things, simply put, okay? It might not be as simple as that, but I think it's a start to understand. So comparative. So you're either evaluating or making a comparative piece, or you're writing a kind of a comparative study or comparative. Let me just say you're making a comparative analysis, okay? Without trying to complicate things. So it has to be two concepts in which you are comparing them. So to be able to compare two things, they must have some similarities. Okay, they must be similar in a particular context to make a comparison. Okay, they can ask you to compare um, a tree and an animal. I mean, if you want to talk about speed, for instance, but you can compare one animal to another animal in terms of how fast they can run. So you compare two contexts under a particular concept. If I can put it like that, then you are evaluating them. You compare them and make a report. You understand? Then the next one is the next level of academic writing is persuasive. This one is very simple. You do everything that you can do with analytical. You compare two concepts under a particular context. And then while in analytical you are reporting, in persuasive you must, when you compare them, conclude, you must make your own viewpoints, about the whole scenario. So you see that on top of analytical, you just add your viewpoint and then you get the persuasive. And the same with critical. You add your viewpoints, then you bring in the viewpoints of other, and then you are at critical. So if you are given a question or a task, you must study the task to see whether you will be writing at the level of critical or you are expected to write at the level of persuasive or analytical. You see, but I would say to students, if you are not sure, it's better you go to the highest level, which is the critical. You understand? So in the critical, you'll be forced to do the descriptive, whereby you outline facts. Then you group them at the level of analytical under different contexts, and then you compare them, you conclude, you bring in your own viewpoint to bring it at the level of persuasive. Then when you are bringing the viewpoints of others, then you take it at the level of critical. So at the university, we expect you to do critical analysis of everything. So that is the expectation at the level of the university. So when you are asked to write a project, when you are asked to do a research, you're discussing the results. So you should be at the level of the critical, For those who are in the high school, maybe they can reach the level of analytical or persuasive sometimes when they make argumentative essay, Okay, so that is that with the levels of academic writing in order of increasing complexity. Okay, so let's quickly look at the principles of academic writing. So these are the things that must characterize academic writing. You must stick to these principles. The first one is cohesion. There's cohesion between sentences. From one sentence to another, there must be a logical flow of a pattern of the way you write. You must have a pattern on the way you write. We don't just write sentences at random, but you will see it in the slide ahead and between paragraphs. So we have flow of information between sentences and flow of information between paragraphs. Okay, so but we are going to see more in the slide ahead. Clarity, okay, you must use simple words, okay, proper adjectives, proper verbs, straight to the point, so that what you write must not be open to anyone's interpretations, So that's it, clarity. Logical order, just like cohesion, flow of information must make logical sense in terms of chronological order. For instance, when you're making a narrative, it must take a kind of time frame chronological order. So I can't say much more about that. This is very clear, consistent. Okay, you must use, in terms of usage of grammar for narrative, are you using past tense? Are you describing a scenario? Do you want to use present tense? So those are things that you must master, And then even your in-text citation and your referencing style, it has to be uniform. If you're using the Harvard has got some variations, stick to one variation, and then you proceed throughout the document. Unity. Each sentence must support a central theme. This is very critical. Okay, we are going to see how to structure a paragraph in the slides ahead. So you will see that a paragraph must have one central idea that has been discussed in it. And you shouldn't see that idea discussed in another paragraph in the same document. Okay, so take note of that. So that is an important concept that we are going to look at. Okay, so what I'm saying is that, let me just read this sentence. Each sentence must support the central theme or idea of the paragraph. Your groups of paragraphs must support the central idea of a topic. So yeah, it makes sense. Under a topic, I expect to see different paragraphs. Okay, yeah, that is very clear. Then remove parachuting sentences and paragraphs. So parachuting sentences and paragraphs will be for a paragraph. A parachuting sentence will be a sentence that is not related to the central theme. Okay, so I know with my master's and PhD students, when I read their paragraphs, I find a lot of parachuting sentences, and I'll tell them that this sentence is not related to the topic sentence. Can you please remove it? Okay. The same with topic. If I look at the topic, if you say this topic is a sexual reproduction, and then I find a paragraph that is talking about sexual reproduction, then I'll say no, this is a parachuting paragraph. It does not relate to the topic. Can you please remove it? So, as students, we should be able to identify parachuting sentences and parachuting paragraphs in our text. Conciseness. So, this one is just choose your word judiciously. You get straight to the point. Don't put complicated words. Don't try to show your dramatic strength. Avoid tautology. Completeness. Completeness is the information pertaining to the topic in terms of a topic or central idea in terms of a paragraph. Try to be holistic. Get as much articles as possible so that you don't be superficial when you present the information that's supposed to be presented under a particular central idea. So many students, they just stumble on one paper and decide to use it, or get a few paper, 2 paper, 3 papers, and then they want to write a 15-page document out of 3 papers. It's not going to work. So you must do literature search, get as many papers as possible, make sure that you've covered all angles. You understand? That's why in an essay, somebody might have 5%, another person can have 10, other person must have 50, some will have 75, some will have 100%. So it depends on the amount of information that they've included, or if they've covered all the relevant segments that should be covered on that particular topic. Variety is to vary sentence style. Okay, many students, they can fall in love with furthermore. The first sentence will have furthermore, the next 2 sentences will have furthermore, the next 5 sentences will have furthermore, or because everywhere, So that's why we say vary your sentence style and structure to avoid numerous repetition of a particular phrase or words, Okay, formality, take a formal tone, avoid first person pronouns, when you are writing your sentence. The my, I, our, and stuff like that, You avoid all those pronouns in your write-up. Okay, so I've talked about information gathering. Before you can write, you must gather information from other literature, from past publications, and it takes me to the point where I can say firmly that no one has all the knowledge in their head. I mean, in science or in academia, you have to read the work of others and then you use it to build your own idea. Okay, so no one was born with all the knowledge in their head. We may differ on how fast we acquire knowledge, but at the end of the day, if you study, you reach at that point. Some people might take 1 year, some people might take a few months, some people might take a few weeks to understand a certain concept. Yeah. So, but at the university, we don't have space for people who take 1 year to acquire one concept. Hence, there's a selection process in the university. So, but if you are at that level already in the university, I assume that if you are listening to this lecture, then you are one of those people who've made it into the university. So you must also know that for you to be better, you need to read, to study more. And for you to study more, you need to do more literature search. You must search the work of other people. You must look at what other people have studied, what they've published. From there, you should be able to do your own writing. You should be able to do your own research. So what do we do when we do literature search? We use keywords from the topic. So if I'm busy with the topic, maybe I have a research topic, Now I must write my introduction. So now I must look for keywords from that topic and do a literature search. When I'm searching in literature, what am I looking for? I'll be actually doing a literature review. You search from databases, you search from journals, you know. So when you do a literature search, what we actually do is to look for themes that I can include in my paragraphs, or themes that I can use to build my paragraphs. Yeah, let me put it that way. Okay, so that is at the beginning, that is what you do. You use keywords from headings and subheadings. So if you've identified the headings and subheadings that you want to cover, this one, especially when you're writing a literature review, because in the literature review, you should organize it in heading level 1, heading level 2, and you use keywords for each heading to do your to continue the writing. So, but before you can also get these headings, the headings that you want to cover under a topic, under a literature review topic. From you start by using keywords from the title. Then from there you say, oh, okay, I want to cover this as my heading. I want to cover this as my heading. Then you use the keywords from the heading, or use the heading as keyword and search for information that you want to use to build your paragraph themes. Okay, because under each heading you should have paragraphs. So when you have a heading, you should be looking for paragraph themes. Okay, so you use keywords from your topic, literature review topic or a research topic, and you do literature search and extract salient points that you can use as heading. Okay, once you have your heading, you repeat the same process, but now you are looking for themes that you can use to build paragraphs. So paragraph themes. Okay, then you use keywords from the topic to search for paragraph themes. I've said that. Okay, if you have a topic. Then you search for current publications, current articles from various accredited databases, such as Google Scholar Science Direct. You read the article of interest and extract themes of interest. Okay, so if I have a title and I'm doing a literature review, I must first look for headings and subheadings. Then thereafter, I use each heading and do further literature search, and then I look for themes that I can use to build my paragraph under that heading. Okay, I cannot say more than that. Then you read all the articles of interest, you extract the themes and use it the way you want to. You use the themes and develop a mind map. So the concept of a mind map is a very good tool that everyone must use when you are writing up. Okay, you have a topic, you can mind map the headings that you want to use. Okay, that is for a literature review. Okay, you mind map the headings, then you pick each heading and do further literature search and make a mind map of the central ideas that you would like to develop into paragraph. That is the way to write. In that way, you ensure a smooth flow of information. Okay, then you develop your paragraph using a mind map. A mind map is a must. Anyone who attempts to write without using a mind map, then you are deceiving yourself. Okay, so I just want to make a distinction between a literature review and topic and subtopics, or headings and subheadings. An introduction. In most documents, we don't have headings and subheadings in the introduction. Whether you're writing a research proposal, whether you're writing a project, whether you're writing a report, sometimes, most times, I can say authoritatively, we don't introduce headings and subheadings in the introduction. So if you are writing your introduction, which is supposed to be general information about the topic, so you use the heading and get themes, paragraph themes, and write your introduction. But when you go to the literature review section, you must start by getting headings. You make a mind map of headings that you want to use. Then you go to each heading, pick it up, pick keywords, do further search, and get a mind map of the paragraph themes that you want to develop under that particular heading. I hope this is very clear. So a mind map is central to the success of academic writing. For those who don't know how to do a mind map, you can just do a Google search on how to do a mind map. You will see it. Those who can use Microsoft Word, you can use the drawing tools and do your mind map. Okay, so now how to extract main points from the paragraph of published articles. So in the previous slide, I've talked about building your own paragraph from a paragraph theme or a topic. So, but how do you get these points to use as themes in your own write-up? Okay, you must read the work of others. Like I said, no one was born with everything in their head. So when you read the articles of other publishers or authors, the articles of other authors, let me say so, you will be reading the paragraphs. You'll be reading the paragraphs in that article. So what you're actually doing, you read paragraphs after paragraphs, one paragraph to the next. So when you are within a particular paragraph, you must identify the topic sentence that was discussed in that paragraph. So surely there should be, each paragraph should have a topic sentence. We are going to see much more about that, about the topic sentence. And then from the topic sentence, you know the point, the main points or point that was discussed in that paragraph. And then if that point is suitable for you, then you can pick that point and use it as a paragraph theme in your own write-up. Or let's see how you can use that point. The main points could be used in your own write-up as follows. Number one, you can use it as a theme. I already said paragraph theme, okay, if you are writing an introduction. But if you are writing a problem statement, you will be looking for problem statement themes, isn't it? So I assume that each theme would be problem number one. Problem statement theme one should be problem number one. Problem statement theme two should be problem number two. That's the way I visualize it for a problem statement section. Okay, so you get that main point. Maybe you are still drawing your mind map for themes. Okay, themes that you want to use under a particular topic or themes that you want to use in your introduction. So you are reading other articles, say, oh, I want to use this, I want to talk about this, I want to talk about this, I want to talk about this. All those ones that you're talking about are themes. Okay. So the next one is, once you have your themes, remember you need to develop your themes into paragraph. And the first part of a paragraph is the topic sentence. So maybe you are looking for points under a particular theme to develop your topic sentence. Okay, after you develop your topic sentence, you've stated your point, you must explain your point, you must provide evidence to support your points, and you must provide examples to support the points in your topic sentence. So this is how you write your paragraph. But we are going to look at the pill approach, so you don't need to worry about this. We are going to revisit how to build your paragraphs. So, but what I'm actually saying is that at each step of writing your paragraph, you will be constantly doing literature search and picking points from other sources. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So what you must do is to read as many current publications as possible, not more than 5 years old. So definitely wrong here. Your papers that you are reading should be preferably not more than 5 years old. Then you can get older papers, but I advise students to get maybe 70 to 80% of their papers should not, the papers that they are citing in their work should not be more than 5 years old. Okay. Arrange points into themes and develop the themes. You arrange points into themes and then you develop each themes into a paragraph. So I've said that that is when you are writing a paragraph. Okay. So the next point would be to look at the paragraph itself. The next part would be is to look at the paragraph itself. Okay. So now we need to try to define a paragraph. A paragraph is a series of sentences organized in a logical order. Okay. So you must pay attention to series of sentences. So it means in a paragraph, you have many sentences. Okay. And those sentences are not just written in random order. So if you are one of those students who are writing sentences in random order in your write-up, then you know that you are doing the wrong thing. Okay. So now let's go to the GTs. Okay. So each paragraph must be structured from a distinct central idea. I've said that. Okay. And distinct central idea or paragraph theme. So I'm going to be using them interchangeably. Either I'm at the level of a central idea, either I'll say central idea, sometimes I'll say paragraph theme. The central idea is general. Paragraph theme is when we are at the level of introduction or when we are under a topic. Because central idea, when you are writing a problem statement, a central idea in the problem statement will actually be a problem statement theme, which should represent a single problem that you want to discuss. Okay. Because some students also do not know how to write problem statement. They just throw sentences randomly talking about various things in a random manner. That is not a nice way to write a problem statement. You must also arrange your problem statement according to themes. So should be problem statement themes or problem one, problem two, problem three. So in that manner, you develop each problem into a paragraph discussing why the problem is, discussing how the problem manifests, who are those affected. So in a similar way, points that support the topic sentence. You see. So when you state the points, you must discuss the points. Okay. Now we must look at the structure of a paragraph. So now it takes me to the peel approach. The peel approach is a technique that you must follow to write a proper paragraph. Okay. And it starts with a P, okay, which is point. There is a point. You state the point, and then you explain the point, okay? Sometimes if you state the point, it is not clear as stated, so you just need to explain it further, okay, what you mean by it, okay? Then the second letter is E, which is you need to provide evidence to support your points, okay? Sometimes your evidence can be in the form of an example. Then furthermore, you need to explain how the evidence support the point. You know, sometimes you can give examples, provide scenarios. You understand? And then you must provide a kind of a take-home information at the end, in conclusion of the point that you have been discussing in the paragraph. So if you follow this approach, then you get it right. But you must follow this approach, because if you don't follow this approach, then I cannot see how you get your paragraphs in the correct structure. You will not get your paragraphs right if you don't follow the peel approach. There's no other way. So I must remind you that the sentence or sentences in which you've stated the point is often referred as the topic sentence. So if I go to your paragraph, I must find a topic sentence. I can confess here that I've seen many PhD and master students writing paragraphs. They start a paragraph with an example, or they start a paragraph with a definition. You don't know what they're talking about in the paragraphs, you know. Paragraphs with no topic sentence. It's very common. You understand? So your paragraphs must follow the peel approach. So sometimes I used to read my students' paragraph. I'll tell them that, did you follow the peel approach to write this paragraph? Because I can't find your topic sentence. You see, I can't find where you've introduced the points and you provide evidence in support of your points and explain the evidence. So in actual fact, I've not seen you state points and discuss them. Put it simply put. So I must see a topic sentence where you've stated the points in your paragraph, and then how you discuss those points that you've stated. So that's basically what it is. Okay, so I usually use the hamburger analogy. Okay, the hamburger analogy The hamburger analogy assists me to the hamburger analogy assists me to make students to understand that when they are eating their hamburger, they should imagine that that is how their paragraph should look like. Okay? The first layer of your hamburger is your topic sentence. By the time you're eating the second layer, you know that you must provide evidence to support your point. And by the time you're eating the third layer, you know that when you're writing your paragraph, you must explain how the evidence support your points. So you see sentence one, sentence two, sentence three. It doesn't mean that a paragraph should have only a few sentences like this. It depends. If in the topic sentence you have 5 points, then I expect that paragraph to be bigger because you need to explain each point, provide evidence to support the points, and discuss how the evidence support the point. If you can understand me. Okay. So then this is an example of a paragraph written by one of my master's students. So I want to show you how this student followed the pill approach. First thing first, state the point. P. The main source of aflatoxin exposure to human is maize. That is the point stated, explaining the point because it is widely consumed around the world and also because maize plant is susceptible to aflatoxin contamination. That is explaining the point. Now, what must the student do? Provide evidence. Mycotoxin contaminate 24 to 40% of cereal around the world. Mycotoxin contamination of maize can occur in the field through exposure. So you see, this is the evidence that the student put. Mycotoxin contaminate 25 to 40% of cereal around the world. That's the evidence because the source has been cited. Then now you move forward to see mycotoxin contamination of maize can occur in the field. So it's further explaining how the evidence supports the point. So it's saying mycotoxin contamination of maize can occur in the field through the exposure of crops to fungi from the environment and zero storage of crop as well as improper transportation of and food processing. You see, so he's further explaining the how that point support the evidence. Now he's further explaining how the evidence support the point. I beg your pardon. Fusarium infection of maize and toxin formation is influenced by climatic factors during cultivation. So this is further discussing how the evidence support the point. You see, as climate changes, the dominant species in maize may also change. You see, so this is just more points to support the evidence. But what we didn't get in this paragraph is a kind of a take-home information on the main source of aflatoxin. Maybe the student would have made a statement to conclude about the main source of aflatoxin exposure, in relation to the topic. Or if it is an introduction, then it's fine like this. I'll assume this is an introduction. Because if it was a result discussion, then there should be a kind of a take-home information there. Okay, so it just depends on the context. So this thing is just the basic way I'm presenting it. There might be little variations here and there. Okay, reading. So now let's look at reading, because we've talked about reading a little bit, identifying main points from other people's work. So what you actually have to do when you are reading other people's article, you must first identify the topic sentence. Okay? Once you identify the topic sentence, then you extract salient points, which you can use to build your own paragraph. That is exactly what you are doing when you are searching for literature. Okay? So the next aspect that I want us to see is paraphrasing, which helps avoid plagiarism. Okay? Plagiarism is when you pick work from other sources, either through copying, and you paste it in your document, and on top of that, sometimes you cite it, sometimes you mid-cite, but copying word for word, that is all referred to as plagiarism. So it's a series of things. plagiarism is not just one thing. So there are many things that you can be considered as plagiarism. So to avoid plagiarism, you need to rewrite information. So if you get points, salient points from other people's work, you need to rewrite those information in a different way using your own words and without changing the meaning that you are trying to convey. So I don't know which other way I can say that. So most importantly, the source of information must be cited. So everywhere that you are taking salient points and you paraphrase it in your own paragraph, at the end of that paragraph, you must cite the source where that information is coming from. So you paraphrase to avoid plagiarism, to avoid copying other people's work word for word. So there's no way you're going to have a sentence that you copied word for word if you are doing paraphrasing of the salient points, you know. So your dissertation and degree can be revoked if you plagiarize, or you can be scored a 0 in an assignment if you copy somebody's work. I mean, if you're working in a company and you're asked to make a report and you go and plagiarize that report from elsewhere, you can be dismissed. You can be considered incompetent, you know. So it's a serious thing. You guys, plagiarism is very serious. It can destroy your life. You can't have a degree and you're busy working somewhere or enjoying somewhere, only for you to be told that your degree will be revoked because you plagiarize your project, you know. Okay. So how to write an essay? So I decided to put this one in because essay writing is the basic form of writing, and most other writing follow the same format, you know. So you have an introduction when you are writing a research paper, a research proposal, you know, a report. You have an introduction, and in that introduction, you write general statement about the topic. So when you're writing a report, when you're writing a research paper, when you're writing a proposal, you definitely have a title. Okay. If you are asked to write a report, if there's no title, you need to formulate a proper title for that report. So this is something that you must know. Then under that, when you formulate the title for that report, you must have an introduction, and you can't afford to get it to formulate a wrong title. Then you'll be writing a different report. So your title must be directly related to what the type of report you were asked to write. So once you have a title, you must develop an introduction. Okay, introduction is a general statement and information about the topic, several sentences in paragraphs. So you follow the Peel approach to develop your introduction using paragraph themes. Okay, so the new thing that I'm bringing in is a thesis statement. Okay, a thesis statement is a statement that you make at the end of your introduction of what you are going to do in terms of the task at hand. So the thesis statement is usually 1 to 2 sentences. Okay, so in the body, you write about the things that you said you will do in the thesis statement. So the thesis statement is taking the topic and put it into context and make a statement of what you are going to do or what somebody is expecting or what somebody should expect in that document when they read it. So you should be telling them at the level of the thesis statement. So you discuss the central ideas in support of the thesis statement. So the thesis statement is like the task that you are going to do. You will see it in the slide ahead, what I'm talking about. Okay. And you have a body, then you have a conclusion. So most write-up, most report, most things follow that format. But in the body, you cannot write a report and then you have a heading called the body. No. The body is where you have the heading and subheading for some other form of report. But for short form of report, in the body, you should have only the paragraphs with representing the central ideas. Okay. So if it's a long report, if your proposal is long, then you should have an introduction, you should have a problem statement, a literature review. But in the literature review, you mostly have headings. But in an introduction, you have only paragraphs. I've said that before. So you must take note. Okay, so now let's look at the famous thesis statement. Okay, they say the thesis statement is an assertion and a stance that you take. So you make an assertion and you take a stance. Okay. Your thesis statement should provide the reader with a claim of your paper. So you state what you are going to argue about in terms of argumentative, of what you are going to write in terms of a narrative, or what you are going to write about in terms of a report. You see, so like I said, the essay works is the basic form of writing. From there, you can navigate through other forms of writing. You can write a report, you can write an argumentative piece, you can write an essay on something, you can write an opinion piece. It follows, everything follows the same pattern. Okay, it appears at the end of your introduction. So that is the thesis statement, like I said, is usually the last thing that you write at the end of your introduction. So let's see this example. This example is about food processing technology and lifestyle diseases. So this could be the heading. Okay, so you see how the thesis statement relates to the heading. Many people are of the belief that food processing technology are responsible for lifestyle diseases such as obesity and hypertension. In this paper, I will argue that food processing technologies are not to be blamed for the occurrence of obesity and hypertension among youths because there are many other factors that can influence obesity. Okay, there are many factors that can cause you to come up with obesity. Okay, so this is a thesis statement. So this is the kind of statement that you make at the end of your introduction. Then in your body, I'll be expecting you to add, I'm expecting distinct paragraphs representing arguments to support the fact that food processing technologies are not to be blamed. So you see why I said in the previous slide that in the body, you discuss the central ideas in support of your thesis statement. So when you made your position known, what you are going to do, then you should do it. Okay. So this is an example of an essay. So I told you that an essay is the basic form of writing. You know? So this is the introduction. You cite in source of information, in-text citation. Then you have your thesis statement at the end of the introduction. You know, and then you have your body, paragraph 1, paragraph 2. In the case of an introduction, in a proposal, it follows the same format. If you are writing a literature review, your body will be bigger and longer, and hence you should consider using headings and subheadings. You know, then there should be a conclusion if you are writing an essay. But for an introduction of a research proposal, you don't need a conclusion in your introduction. Okay. I mean in your write-up, sorry. Even for a literature review, sometimes if you are doing a critical analysis, you can have a conclusion. But sometimes if you're just doing a narrative literature review, you don't need a conclusion. But we'll see that in another lecture about proposal writing. So yeah. So they're just like I said, this is the basic unit. When you are writing a piece, you can just look at the format. Then you know which one to leave out or which one to mute. You know, like for an article, journal article, sometimes the thesis statement is there in the introduction, but sometimes it's mixed with the aim of the paper. But for somebody who knows how to write, you should have a thesis statement there. Then you merge it with the aim of the paper, you know. But if you have the thesis statement, it can take the place of the aim of the paper. That is for a journal article. Some science journal articles, not all journal articles. A few science ones. Okay. So now we are looking at searching for main points. I've already stated that you need to do a broad-based literature review to search for points. But where do we search for these points? Google Scholar Science Direct library or library, and you can ask your librarian to assist you in that. Okay. Then after you've collected points from other people's work, from other articles, from other publications, you need to cite them when you paraphrase them in your, you paraphrase those points in your paragraph, okay? So what a good example would be, it was found by Tabit et al. That street food, so this is a citation inside the sentence. This one is another citation inside the sentence, another way to put it, okay? And then there's a citation at the end of the sentence. So the production of food is sufficient in South Africa, but high prices was found to be a challenge to the poor to access food. You see, in-text citation at the end of the sentence. So it's always good to paraphrase your sentence and put the citation at the end of the sentence. But sometimes if you want to quote authors, then you'll be forced to put the citation inside the sentence. Okay. But to me, personally, I prefer citations at the end of the sentence, unless you want to quote. Okay. If you're not doing, some students, they just like to put citations inside the sentence, but you find out that they're not trying to quote any author, you know, which to me is not wrong, but I don't prefer that. Let me say so. Okay, referencing. So I just want to bring to your attention the different types of referencing and the different types of sources, you know. Harvard referencing and many other referencing styles are available, and even within the Harvard referencing, there are small variations here and there. For example, I have an here. Some people put the symbol and. This is the journal, you know, the volume 7, and then I put 1, which is the issue. Some people put VOL for volume and then IS for issue. They abbreviate it. Some people write page. Some people write P for page, you know. So you just need to take note of the variation. But what I want to show you is that you might have articles that could have a volume, issue, page numbers. Some articles have volume, issue, but serial number, so they don't have a page number range. So you take note of that. Then there are some articles that are online, which means they don't have a volume, they don't have page number range. So what we are going to put is the access number, the access link, the HTTP link, you know, to the article, you know. So this journal article is still online. The journal has not put it into volumes, issue, and has not attributed page numbers to it. Okay, then a dissertation is a kind of a book. So which means that you need to put the name of the author, you put the title of the dissertation, and then you indicate that is an MSc or a PhD thesis or MSc dissertation, and then you put the university. Sometimes you put the link, okay, because some universities do have a repository where they have where the dissertations are put into. Okay, most universities internationally have got repository. So if you have a university, for instance, I have here University of South Africa, you can just say University of South Africa repository in Google. Surely it will take you there, or University of Manchester dissertation repository or thesis repository. It will take you there. Those documents, all those dissertations are available for free. Okay, books. You put the name of the authors, okay? You put the title of the book, please put it in italics. Same with the title of the journals, should be in italics. Then the edition, then you have the place of publish, and then the publisher. Sometimes you can put the year of publish, okay? So those other extensions. Some people also can put the page numbers of the book. It's still fine. Then chapters in books. So you know, some books they have chapters where you have an author or authors have written a chapter, and then you find out that that book has got an editor, okay, the editor of the book. So normally we put the authors initials and surname first, or last name or family name, whichever one you want. Then initials. And then you have the title of the chapter. Then you say in the book edited by James and Zuma. Okay, they put in bracket EDS, which stands for editors, then the name of the journal, then the edition, then the publisher. So it just depends the place of publish, the publisher, page numbers, sometimes year of publish, like I said. So there are many variations, small variations. It depends on what is needed by a journal, if you're writing to a journal, or if you're writing a proposal, what is expected from the college or the faculty or the department, what is their expectation. So sometimes they'll give you guidelines on how to do your referencing. So you just follow those guidelines. Okay, let's look at bad referencing. How can you identify bad referencing? Okay, number one, citing one source numerous times. Okay, so this is a student who is citing the same source many times in one paragraph or in the entire document, not only in one paragraph, but sometimes they are not even ashamed to cite many sources in one paragraph. You should be ashamed of yourself if you do that. So why this? Why all this are happening? You see that students who are too lazy to search for more articles, when they stumble on one, they want to use that one for everything, or that they turn someone's paragraph into yours. What do I mean by this? You go to an internet, you find a nice paragraph, you just copy everything, you dump it into your document, chop off some section, chop it off, chop it off, chop it off, then you leave the citations, Then once you keep on picking from that same paragraph, you end up having many. Then the next one is too many citations for one sentences. This one is obvious. You steal somebody's paragraph or sentences whereby there are many citations there. You chop it off, chop it off, chop it off. Maybe you have many with 3 lines. Now you keep all the citations that person had in that paragraph because you don't know which one to get rid of. So to play safe, you just keep all the citations. Then you end up having numerous citations, up to 5 citations just for 3 lines of information. I'm going to start to suspect you if you do that. So what must have happened? Sometimes you find that the students have picked information from other articles, okay, paraphrase it nicely. You understand? No, this is not that one. Too lazy to paraphrase. Okay, these are scenarios where a student is copying again, pasting, they don't paraphrase, and then they keep the citations that they obtain, so that they don't change the citation, they just copy and put. So if you are copying from the same paper, or from, if you happen to copy things that are coming from the same source, then you end up having that same source being you keep on having that source be appearing in your work numerous times. Okay. Another option could be having citations that has not been listed in the reference list. This is a common one. Having citation that has not been listed in the reference list means that you are stealing sentences with citations. Means you went somewhere, you steal sentences in somebody's paragraph, then you forget to steal the reference too. So if I see your paragraph, I see citations, if I go to your reference list, I don't find it there. Or you might be a good student who is doing everything by the book, but your other student who is procrastinating and saying that I will do my reference list later. I will do it later. Some students will even send you documents. They will send you a document with no reference list. They'll say, can you be reading this section? I will send you my reference list later. That is nonsense. You build your reference list at the same time you're building your paragraph. Man. How can you get a source of information and not take the reference list? How are you going to find it later? I don't trust such students. They're either copying from somewhere. Then you procrastinate, then you forget to do the reference list at the end of the day. Please don't procrastinate. You do your reference list as you move on, as you are building the paragraph, as the citations, the in-text citations are coming in. So you are developing the reference list. That is the way to go. So let's see good references. So good referencing practices. You can use a software or you do it manually. But it's always good to know how to do it manually then before you can migrate to the software. Because if the software fails you, then you can do it yourself. I'm just saying, just in case. Okay, so this is one of the database whereby you can search articles. This one is Science Direct. Okay, this is the place where you put the keywords. You can put the author's name if you are looking for articles published by somebody that you know. Then you search. You can vary it. You can leave out keyword, put author's name and search. If you know journals that you're looking for, you can put the journal's name and search, or author's name, journal, and keyword. You can do them in any combination that you want. So it's something that you can play around, but you must have access to this Science Direct. It's available for free in the internet. You can click Science Direct in Google, search, you come to this page. But if you search articles, not all of them will be freely available to you unless your university or your organization has bought access. Otherwise, they'll be asking you to pay before you get articles, even though there are some few ones that you can get for free, but they are very, very scarce there. Or you can target those journals that are open access journals. Okay, yeah, there are some journals that are open access. So if in your discipline you can find out those journals that are open access and search only them and begin to find things within, that one can be a way to go. But trust me, there are very few of them, of such journals. This is also another database, SpringerLink. Okay, do the same thing. You search keywords here, and then you search. It's not as elaborate as Science Direct, but this one you just have to search using your keywords. So thank you. I hope that you are going to make use of the knowledge that you've gained here, and you should be able to start to write scientifically. And please, after you've done, you can also look at the lecture on guidelines on how to write a research proposal and guidelines on how to choose the type of data analysis model you want for your data. So those are the two other lectures that are available. Thank you very much.